Okay, now going back to Austin's chart, we have this trine relationship between Mars and Saturn, as well as between Pluto and Saturn, Pluto and the Sun, Mars and the Sun. So you have the tendency for transformation of Pluto in its sign of power, Scorpio, working with Austin's innate sense of ego and self-discipline through the Sun and Saturn, respectively. You have Mars, which represents passion and bravery, also trining those aspects. This particular configuration could be a part of who makes Austin the powerful force he is. We also have a 6-sign stellium in Capricorn, suggesting that the principles of this earth sign is very integral to who he is. This stellium is located at the 10th house, which is the house of the career, with Uranus, the planet of rebellion, being conjunct to midheaven, also conjunct to the moon, his emotional state, suggesting that ultimately his career will be supported by endeavors that require rebellion against an established norm. I'll use these placements as the background to theorize what is going on in Austin's life at this point. What are his opportunities? What are his risks? So you look here at Jupiter, it's retrograde in the 5th house of play, sports, romance. Also in the appropriate sign of Leo, which also symbolizes those things. Jupiter placements usually manifest in abundance of its sign and house. So if Jupiter's in the 5th house, those 5th house issues will tend to be in some abundance. However, Jupiter being in opposition to Venus, a sign of femininity and beauty, in the 11th house of your associations, this could spell trouble for Austin. The question which logically follows is, were there any controversies specifically involving the feminine energy with Austin that may have diverted him from his intended pathway? Now, Austin may be on his intended path, but assuming that he is not on that path, I suspect this solution to a situation may entail resolving the tension between Venus and Jupiter, as well as Mars and Pluto. Austin Steinbart controversies is a rather broad topic. Given what we discussed in this chart, I'll focus this discussion just on the controversies involving women over the past 2 years in regard to his Q operation. This confessional video was generated in August of 2020. PettyVid was my search engine of choice.
So tonight I just have some quick personal stuff to address. As some of you may be aware, I recently separated with my wife, Sarah, who I had been with for over 10 years. Originally, the plan was that we were going to separate to protect assets. She was keeping her last name, and we were going to just see where things went in the future.
As I understand it, this is a photo of his ex-spouse, Sarah, with the father as a groom. I sourced this image from his Facebook account, dated April 11, 2014. There you see a dapper and proud Austin. He had changed his profile at that time. And I should just also note that if you go forward in time a little bit, you see all of his posts for the Operation Burnback he did in 2016. I think in the future I may come back to this series of drops and try to see if there's anything worth talking about. Likely there is. I did have the luck, or you might say fate, also to run across Sarah. From that encounter, I would describe her as being non-pareil. What does that word mean? Having no equal. An individual with unequaled excellence. Needless to say, she was a very good catch by Austin. Only months after coming out as Q, the relationship of the two basically dissolved. And so that takes us back to the question we had concerning the placement of Venus in House 11, opposite to his retrograde Jupiter. I'm sure that was an enormous degree of stress on the young man at a time where he was surrounded by these people. Now, in determining likely direction and course for Austin, the question lies, is Austin his own independent decision maker, or does he greatly weigh the input for those around him? If these people are a great influence on Austin, then it would seem that Austin's destiny is more tied to the collective effort, character, and brilliance of these people around him. There were other very important players to Austin's goals in 2020 who are not pictured here. Keep in mind, when Austin was undergoing various controversies, he was also working on a film. It was to be a Q documentary. Imagine having all that pressure. Navigate to Steinbart Media Group website, steinbartmedia.org. Click on the cloud, navigate to SMG, then go to Austin Steinbart videos. Here you'll find this video, Mission Forward, Stay Focused Austin. This video covers some of the controversy which occurred in the fall. I am surprised it's public domain. I'll play the important part here.
Coming to you here from the peachy little federal prison out in Florence, Arizona. Just got a few announcements to make this evening. First up, we have a few team members. Michael Corey, Alex Chiavelli, and Brooke Cloud have departed the team. We thank them for their...
That is Michael Corey, Alex Chiavelli, and Brooke Cloud. He announces that those three have left the Steinbart team. Okay, and now here he'll direct correspondence to these four individuals that he will name. Listen carefully.
Direct further correspondence to Kylie Mayer, Marcus Cohen, Penny McCarthy, and/or Texas Godmother.
So those four. The one named Texas is not pictured here. This announcement was made in September of 2020 while Austin was incarcerated. So that fall, Michael left, but he had since returned in a visit months ago, resolving any issues that he had with Austin. Alex has left and has not returned to the group. I'm unaware if she left with unresolved issues, though I would not be surprised. Behind Austin's a personality, Miss Cuniverse, who left previously over the summer before Austin's announcement. She has a YouTube channel to which I'm subscribed, where she had a video, since deleted, that aired a specific grievance she has had with Austin. I'm not sure if the grievance has been resolved. Brooke was one of those named. This is her latest video.
Know what you carry, and they treated you like you were common. And God wanted them to treat you that way because he wanted you to see who they were. Because nothing exposes character more than the way you treat people you don't think you need. If you knew what I carried and what God...
Important contextual element for this video clip is the use of the word cult. What is this in reference to, you might ask? To my understanding, she will tell her own story, but needless to say, she exists as an additional female party whose grievance with Austin has not been resolved. We have Tammy Perry. Dr. Tammy has a video she has uploaded to BitChute concerning Austin and Kylie, specifically grievance that she has with Kylie. Has Austin resolved those differences in the best way he's able to? This individual, Sonia, Austin's initial second in command for his operation, also left with grievances. I'm not sure if in the interval those grievances have been resolved. So going back to the chart here and respecting the opposition of Jupiter and Venus, as Austin completes his Saturn return, any additional efforts he can put into ensuring that his 11th house of associations with its feminine energy is best assuaged may go to help him to succeed in the goals for his particular space vector dharma. He will have to rely on the strength of his 10th house forces and the good trine relationships between Mars and Pluto, which are intense relationships with each other. Here is a list of Austin Steinbart affiliated channels. Unfortunately, my own channel appears to be one of the most active. This individual is also pretty active. Could the lack of inactivity of these affiliated channels relate to an internal SMG plan to lie low until Austin's probation period expires next February? I'd like to believe things were that simple, but the inner group of SMG were well aware of unusual events which occurred throughout late 2020. My usual pattern is only showing you those things I can readily prove. I can't prove to you what I'm going to say. You'll just have to take my attestation for what it is. I myself went around the inner group in one interval last September, experienced an actual thought insertion that is an unoriginal idea implanted into the mind, either which occurred through advanced psychological operations or actual magic. It sounds unbelievable, I know, but just the existence of that particular experience leads me to believe that the situation surrounding Austin and his current course while waiting to get off probation is probably a bit more complex than meets the eye. There was an interview with one of the worst leftists known to man, Will Sumner of the Daily Beast, But besides maybe Project Camelot, there weren't too many other significant interviews during this probationary period. However, you go back on that pathway through the cloud, you will find that video that Austin released when he got out of prison initially.
Hello everyone, I'm just here at SMG Studios, and I would like to just thank everyone for their steadfast support.
So if he was capable of making this green screen video, is he not capable of dropping additional short videos to provide those watching SMG some updates concerning his next move? His apparent silence is mysterious, and in the context of the possible magic I experienced, I wonder. This other individual, named Mr. Dez, appears to be an Austin-like channel. This individual, too, stopped posting after a specific date in August. Now look at Mr. Dez's subscribership compared with SMG Quantum Chat. Almost a 5-fold difference. I believe with the degree of lore and mystery surrounding Austin, he could possibly far surpass Mr. Dez with good coordinated PR from his sizable organization. Some type of update such as, Austin Steinbart gave us word of this, or focus on the amorphous archives at this time. I think that type of direction, even secondhand, could be the grease that helps to move things along in the organization. The head of the arrow points to the midheaven, the arrow symbolizing career. For all I know, the Q project could be over, and this video could be for naught. I at least acknowledge there are many stories that could come to the fore. Austin has a very interesting past, and possibly the vector points to a very interesting future. Regardless of who's at the helm, the energy behind that movement should go forward and be used for a beneficial purpose. Alright, till next time.